Cords of attachment. When two people get attached to each other, they develop a kind of etheric cords. But when these people suffer separation, they find themselves in a weak and vulnerable situation. And hence, moving on becomes the need of the hour. Cutting these etheric cords then becomes necessary in order to let go of each other on a positive note. What happens is that when you are close to someone, you end up sharing an energetic bond which is like a cord of energy binding you guys together. These cords are visible during meditation, and those who have seen them remark that they are generally dark in color. These cords can be light like a slim belt or heavy with different chakras of the human body. This type of multiple cording represents different types of attachments like sexual, emotional, mental, romantic, etc. Cording is a very natural thing, as when two people care about one another, the formation of the cord is inevitable. Cords actually serve as a mode of communication of energy between the chakras of the people concerned. Cords can be formed again after cutting, but this seldom makes sense, as no one would cut this cord if they aren't sure about moving on. Signs of cords of attachment. Before getting into how to cut energy cords, let's talk about the symptoms which hint at a strong cord connection between two individuals. When you can't get yourself away from his/her memories and have started feeling that moving on isn't possible for you. The conversations you had with them or the conversations you want to have haunt you incessantly. What would they think? Is a recurring question whenever you think of doing something different. You're in a constant desire to move back with them and have the kind of relationship again that you shared some time ago. Online stalking and noticing every new move of your special friend. Insomnia and other stress-related issues have cornered you. You have become a complete emotional disaster. You sometimes feel like avenging yourself for their behavior towards you, even if they never did anything to hurt you. The consequence of cord cutting. In layman's language, it is like the other person no longer occupying space in your heart or mind. After cutting the cord of toxic emotional attachments, you will find your senses and emotions at peace and in sync with your surroundings. It would be like cleaning a closet and removing all the unnecessary things and creating space for the newer ones. Your life, spirit, and intent will become stronger and more sound. Imagine the feeling when you don't have to worry about the past and you are free to enjoy life ahead. This feeling of shedding the unwanted burden surpasses every other feeling for people who have experienced trauma bonding. But then you may ask, why don't we do it on a regular basis? The answer is that we are never taught that we can unburden ourselves from this unacknowledged baggage of emotions. Identifying the need for cord cutting. Here we are going to discuss with whom we need to cut the cords. Actually, you can cut the cords with anyone who bothers you by not being present physically and yet haunting your mind psychologically. It means that if you know a person who penetrates your mind and thoughts and bothers you without even being present, then you should cut the cord with them. One thing must be kept in mind: you can only do this if you're done with them. In this case, cutting the etheric cords of toxic emotional attachment serves your purpose. People with a strong sexual bond with someone can also find it useful. Sometimes you tend to develop strong bonds with someone you have only been physically intimate with. When you are ready to end your sexual ties with someone, then you can cut off the etheric cords formed between your sexual chakras. If any past sexual experience is impacting your current state of mind, then you are in severe need of moving on. In fact, if someone has ever suffered any kind of physical abuse, then they can make their problem a lot easier by cord cutting. At times, the perpetrator during the physical abuse harnesses a tie between themselves and the victim. This tie leads to the maximum number of problems happening to an assault victim. They don't find themselves able to move on from the psychological damage they suffered during the crime. Now we will discuss how to cut energy cords to release yourself from toxic attachments. How to cut etheric cords and release emotional attachments. Surgery of these etheric cords is done by our loving angels and spirit guides. They cut these etheric cords and uproot the connection by removing the other person from the field of our aura. However, these spiritual guides do not interfere in our lives unless they are asked to. When we invoke them, they come to our rescue. Now we will begin the process. It is an easy thing to do, as you just have to say the following words with utmost intent. It is time to move past the experiences we have shared. I am thankful for what I have learned and the lessons I was given, but this toxic emotional attachment is no longer needed and is holding me back and affecting my present. With power, I now ask for all etheric cords to be cut, for all energetic cords physically connecting the two of us to be removed, dissolved, transmuted, and cut free, and for all energy to be returned to the original center.